And you don't. All right, so you'll get a little button that says that you're going to accept the recording. All right, so I'm Kimberly Healy. I live in Oregon, and I have been dating a lot in the last 2.5 years. In 2019, I was living here in the same house with someone I thought I would spend the rest of my life with. We had a really sweet relationship. We did everything together. We were kind of always together. And then one morning, March 2019, brought me coffee in bed. We were just chatting, and he said, "I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm out of here." Got up, left, moved out, boom, the end. So I was totally heartbroken. I was so devastated. I was a mess. I was like a zombie. I wanted to spend that whole year just disappearing from my life, not even being present. But of course, that's not possible. So I just put one foot in front of the other, but I did not think about dating. I did not think about love. I did not think about anything like that. So then in March 2020, a year later, it's like, I have to get over myself. I have to start dating again. March 2020, to be precise, March 13th, 2020, 1-year anniversary of this terrible breakup, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start dating again. And it was the day before lockdown was announced where I was living. So a total cosmic joke. I had set myself the challenge to meet 10 men because I thought, well, if I meet 10 guys, then I'll get better at like being rejected, and I'll be tough, and I'll be able to face the world, and I won't suffer so much. And like, I don't know, it was like a fitness analogy, right? Like if I just keep doing this, I'm going to get better at it. But I also had the idea that if I made sure that I met 10 men, I might learn something about men. Like I was so blindsided by my breakup that out of nowhere that I thought, well, maybe I don't know anything. Maybe I need to learn something. So that's my personal journey. Also, what I do is I'm a sex, love, and relationship coach. I have an Ivy League PhD, and I'm an Iyengar yoga teacher. The week that I got my PhD was the week I finished my first yoga teacher training. So I have spent my adult life going back and forth, living as an academic, but knowing that my truth is in my body. But then, especially as a female bodied person, that body isn't really acknowledged or respected. Welcome, Chris. I'm just going to keep talking, and you can put any questions or comments you have in the chat. And at the end, I'll stop the recording if you want to unmute yourself and talk a little bit. So I always sort of knew that my body was smarter than my mind, but I live in the US in a culture where we are trained to think that like mental smarts are way more important than some kind of amorphous woo-woo cosmic energy smarts that I would feel in my body. So I didn't know how to do this. Like I taught yoga while I was being a professor, and my colleagues thought I was a lunatic. And then my yoga people were like, why do you live in that world of all the disembodied big heads, right? And so in 2020, I became a sex, love, and relationship coach with Layla Martin, and finally found a means where the body and the mind get to come on board, and even more importantly, the heart, right? Because if we're always worrying about this dichotomy of body and mind, we kind of forget our hearts. And academia didn't have room for my heart. This kind of coaching is all about getting back in touch with your desires and your heart. This class is for you, this little hour class, if you dread dating, if you are annoyed by online dating, if you've been swiping and obsessing, and I can never do this, it's terrible. If dating makes you feel bad, if you resent it, like you think, why do I have to do this? If you dream of just like, I just want to meet someone like I used to do and have a nice conversation. This class is also for anyone who just doesn't know about online dating. Like if you're hesitant, like you're not sure if you want to enter this world of swiping, or you've heard stories like bad things are going to happen, or you're somehow exposing yourself in a way that's going to be unpleasant. I'm going to go over 5 skills that can help you embrace this way of meeting people and turn it into an enjoyable practice. Like, I am not lying. I'm not kidding. I love dating. I really enjoy it. I look forward to it, whatever kind of date it is. This hour class is not a checklist of things to do, right? It's not, I do not have a checklist of the things to do to find the perfect mate. This is not a course in teaching you how to be different and behave a certain way and say certain things so that you'll get what you want, so that people will like you more. I'm not going to encourage you to be any different than you are. And I'm not going to promise you results. Like, there's no secret code to love. There just isn't. And also, this is not a sales pitch. There's nothing to buy during this hour. This is just me talking to you and then fielding some questions. So you can just relax. You know, I'm not going to hit you with a zinger where you have to do anything or say anything or buy anything. This class is really kind of a pragmatic approach to online dating. I've broken it down from the most basic beginning to the sort of more exciting end parts. This class is also a nonstop call to enjoy yourselves, right? To just really enjoy yourselves, whatever it is you choose to do, however you choose to approach this process. I want you to have a good time. And if having a good time is swiping once, that's fine. And so at the end of the talk, I'll be happy to take questions. You can ask me anything, really. And you can also put them in the chat. And so for those of you who just joined, I am recording, but I'll stop the recording at the end if you want to unmute and have a discussion about anything. Right now, if you'd like, you can put in the chat anything that you might have questions already, or anything that has come up already about this. All right. So in order to get the most from this talk, it's interesting because, you know, I've watched a lot of these online talks. And they're like, turn off your notifications and be fully present. And I don't do that. And I don't think real humans do that. So I'm going to invite you to get the most out of this talk, not to pay 100% attention to me, but to pay more attention to your body. Right? So just dropping in right now, right? What's your body feel like? If I start talking about online dating, is your heart pounding? I have one friend, when I say online dating, she goes, like a vomiting cat. Do you have that feeling in your throat? Are you horny? Let me just find someone. Or are you bewildered? I can't do this. I don't know. Or despair or defeat. Oh my gosh, there's nobody out there. Just noticing what you feel in your actual physical body. And breathe into it for a moment. Yeah, it's there. And honey, you are not alone. Whatever you're looking for in online dating, the other people who are doing it, the people who want to meet you, they're feeling this too. It's hard. So many of us are powerful, organized, articulate, competent, and yet online dating just brings up this sort of ick factor. And it's okay to acknowledge this. Yep. It's entirely possible that if I start online dating, my feelings of unworthiness will be there in the pit of my stomach, right? We have feelings. We have sensory feelings. And there's this weird way in which online dating is the crucible for that. It just sort of brings it right to the front when other things, they're fine. There is a way that online dating can be like a spiritual practice. And if you're not into spiritual practice, you could think of it as an exquisite form of self-care or an adventure in self-discovery. And that's what I want to share with you. I just wish that I could get into Tinder or Bumble and just whisper into people's ears, hey, this is hard for everyone. And you, oh, honey, you deserve so much love. Like, right? Like the guy with the big truck and the baseball cap on backwards, like he deserves love too. It's hard. And in connection, connecting with each other, connecting here, connecting with friends, connecting with love interests is how we learn and it's how we thrive. And we need to support each other in order to grow and to find love. Obviously, I can't cover everything in this hour. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of different platforms. There's a lot of different circumstances, a lot of different stories. And online dating, like so many human experiences, it's complex and it's context driven. Like right now, I live in a very small town and you might live in a place that's overwhelmingly large. There are things that come up like politics, pet ownership, kids, whoops, religion, right? So there are a lot of specifics like that that I'm not going to cover today. I know some of you will have more specific questions and will be inspired to finally do something about your dating life. And I will offer you an opportunity before the end of this talk to do more. All right, first things first, we're going to start with celebrations. I want to celebrate you for showing up. Thank you for being here. This is the very first step to treating yourself kindly. No one teaches us how to be happy and date. Like you have to go figure it out, right? If you read the news, there's all these articles about how awful online dating is, how it's making people depressed, right? And then how are you supposed to find someone that you like? So taking an hour to be here, to reflect on online dating, to explore the topic means that you're already honoring your desires. You're already acknowledging some needs and you're making space for them in your life. So even entertaining the possibility of online dating is a generosity to yourself. Like, hey, yeah, I want something. I want somebody. So I'd love for you to try on some of the ideas that I present and think about moving into this as a way to enjoy connecting, to enjoy pleasure, and most of all, to enjoy being you. All right. So I gave myself the challenge of meeting these 10 men. At the time in 2020, during the pandemic, I was living in France. I had given myself an unpaid year off so that my son could learn French in school. And, it was all great until about March, when basically living in France became house arrest, except with exquisitely good food, right? The foie gras store stayed open during the pandemic. I was like, really, French people? They're like, essential services, right? Essential services include wine, include cheese, so much good bread. So we ate fantastically, but we were totally isolated. While I stayed in France for a few more months and I ended up meeting 11 men, right? The first one was like, bing, 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 really quick before everything shut down. And the second one was a lot of phone calls while we were all like locked in our apartments. And then I started meeting men. It was hard. Oh my gosh. Like lipstick. Do I have lipstick? Do I wear lipstick? Hair. Like, what do I do with my hair? Do I need to look like natural? Is my butt too big? I'm in France. Like I have a big butt for France. Where should I go? Like, what am I going to talk about? Do I seem sad? Do I seem weird? I don't know how to act. Am I going to flirt with these people? Like, if you want to sort of be pushed right up against all of your insecurities, go meet a stranger that you think you might want to kiss, right? It's excruciating. So I know what it's like. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and be like, is this dress too short? Should I wear pants? What if we sit down? Right? So there are obstacles, right? It's hard to put yourself out there. But if we don't do anything, like if we don't do anything about our desire for connection, we're numb. Like we're either cut off from ourselves or we're bitter and complaining, right? I meet so many people. Like everybody wants more connection, I think. I met one person who said they had enough. Well, that was great. But we deeply desire relationships. We deeply desire connection. And somehow there's this idea that the accidental relationship, like meeting someone at the post office, if anyone even goes to the post office anymore, like that would be better than one that you worked for, that one that you put effort into finding. But really, the best relationship for anyone is the one that feels good to you, the one where you're thriving. There's not a qualitative difference if you went and found someone on Tinder. So there's an art to this, to not like constantly complaining and getting stuck in the loop, and also not locking yourself away, not just giving up and being resigned. That's it. I'm done. I can't do it. No, right? So I'm here to encourage you to be a little fearless and to think about actually stepping into this. Because if our desire for connection is not fulfilled, if it starts to wither or becomes an irritant, then in other areas of our lives, we don't thrive either. So I lose sleep. I'm short-tempered. I can sort of spend a lot of time thinking, oh, everything's wrong with life, right? But I'm here to tell you that there are ways to ease into online dating, to move towards this, where you're not constantly triggered, you're not constantly feeling like you're a loser, but you're also not sort of giving up immediately, right? Not checked out, not numb. This is what I'm going to invite you into. So not moving towards something you want is a disservice to you, right? Not taking action when you know that your heart desires connection is a little bit not taking care of yourself. So I have 5 key points that I would like you to reflect on, and we'll move from the most basic to the most intimate, from sort of the very beginning of online dating to possible culminations, right? So let's start. Number 1, who are you, right? Who are you online? So online dating begins with a profile and a platform. So my personal preference, I like Bumble and I like Tinder. Tinder's no nonsense, right? It's kind of like the Wild West of online dating. I've met some amazing people on Tinder. It's not just a hookup app like it was originally. And Bumble is an app where if you're heterosexual, the woman decides to reach out to the man. So my niece got on Bumble and she liked all these guys. And then she was like, none of them ever wrote me. And I was like, oh, honey, you have to write them first on Bumble. They don't write you. There's also Hinge. Where I live, it's too small. There aren't enough people on Hinge, but where you live, there could be other platforms. Match.com. I'm impatient. Match is like a lot of questions, but I know friends who've done really well on Match. And there are other more specific ones, like if you're Buddhist or if you're Jewish, or, if you want to be in a certain group, if you want to be with Christians, right? You can find apps like that. It doesn't really matter which app. And trust me, people go on multiple apps, right? They find ways to be wherever. I see the same faces. So where do you go and what do you say, right? I don't think it really matters. I like Bumble just as a woman because, I don't get unsolicited messages. I choose who to message. I have sat around the kitchen table time after time with friends, offering to help them write up their profile, find some pictures, get started. We get all sweaty, right? And and they're really like, and I'm like, come on, let me take your picture. You're so cute. This makes people so nervous, putting themselves out into the world, right? Just like, I've had clients who are ashamed. They don't want their neighbors to know that they're online dating. I have clients who are terrified that somehow they're exposing themselves to the bad people in the world. It's so hard. The really basic reason why it's so hard is because I want to be liked. We want to be liked and liked and liked and liked, and we're not going to be liked by everyone. Actually, in online dating, you don't want everyone to like you. It's impossible, and it will just waste your time. There are people I don't want them to like me. I don't want us to even, like, we're not each other's people. If you shift your focus from being liked to being yourself, it's immensely liberating. My favorite date in France was a man on Tinder whose entire profile said everything that he was. I'm overweight. I'm a bioenergetician. I'd never heard of that. I'm recently divorced. I'm moving and my life is a mess. And I used to live in India or something. I was like, I want to meet this person because this is a real person, right? I know nothing about bioenergeticians. I know more now. But this was an actual person. I wanted to meet this actual person because he seemed like an interesting actual person. It wasn't a guessing game. So basically, there's no online dating for you unless you put yourself out there. And when I say yourself, put yourself out there, I mean you. You as you are, with your body, your smile, your COVID hair, like, what am I supposed to do? Your poochy belly. Yep, you. Actually, you. Because you are beautiful and you are lovable, and people who know you know that about you. So you'll want a couple of pictures where you look like yourself. Yep. I think it's nice if you can ask a friend to take pictures, like someone you like, because then you look happy in your pictures, right? You look relaxed and happy. You don't have to get selfies, right? You can just ask someone to take a couple of pictures of you doing the things that you do, whatever it might be, walking your dog or just being your normal self. There's a way in which if you swipe a lot, everyone starts to look the same because they're trying to look like some version of masculinity or femininity or sexiness. And suddenly someone just looks like an individual. It's so exciting. And there are no hard and fast rules about like your pictures, but you don't want to look like there's nothing to you. You want to look like you're a person with a life and doing things. And then in your profile, so writing your profile, I'm going to give you a tip. And this might seem contrary to what you're thinking, but the most important thing is to be specifically yourself. So on my profile, it says I'm into phenomenology and I really love bioaccumulate. If you know what those two things are, well, one's a person. If you know those things and you want to debate them with me, more power to you. I doubt it, right? And you know what? It's okay if people have to Google my obscure interests. It might be good for them to discover that Zaz is an incredible French singer. And then when we connect, we already have something to talk about. And we know we're interesting to each other. So many people online are trying to appeal to the largest common denominator. But like I said, you don't want everyone to like you. You don't want everyone to match with you. Oh my gosh. So you want to be specific. You want to be quirky. You want to be yourself. And you want to trust that the most interesting and appropriate people for you, not necessarily universal, but for you, they'll ask you about your mandolin or they'll want to debate electric bikes. I've asked men that I've met, like, why did you say you're politically moderate? What does that mean? Or why did you say you're religious? I don't think you are. And they've told me that they put those things in their profile because they want to appeal to everyone, right? But if you're not religious and you say you're religious, it's a little bit confusing, right? If you say you're politically moderate, but you're really into Bernie or QAnon, maybe you need to actually find the people who want to talk about those things with you. So for your online dating profile, you don't want to be a one-stop superstore. You don't want to be like the Target. Buy everything here. I've got toothpaste. I got everything. You want to be that very specific little Italian sandwich shop on that alley in Philly where you can get that sandwich with broccoli rabe, right? And only some people know about it. You want to be that, or whatever your analogy is. Maybe you don't want to be a sandwich with greens on it. Does anyone want to share in the chat something like weirdly specific that they would maybe put in their dating profile? An interest or something that you spend time doing. So in conclusion, point number 1, creating your online dating profile is an opportunity to celebrate yourself, your desires, and your interests in the most specific way possible. So I am an amazing person because of this really specific thing. Not, like if someone says, oh, I really like you, you're so great. Like, oh, that was nice. But if someone goes in and really says specifically, wow, I so enjoy spending time with you because when I explain something, you listen and you add your knowledge about this or that, right? And it's like, oh, that's like, oh. So those kind of like making a specific dating profile is like giving yourself those compliments. Like, oh yeah, oh, so sweet, right? These are the things I like. This is who I am, right? If you look in the chat, it's like yoga, oh, little watercoloring while going around city. Oh, like, oh, my heart melts, right? This is someone who I'd want to know. So the more you practice presenting yourself as you are, this is the spiritual path part, the easier it is to be kind to yourself, right? To celebrate your idiosyncrasies, to revel in your accomplishments. Hell yeah, I am this person. You do not have to be or make yourself smaller, blander, dumber, thinner, not at all. Okay, so point number 1 is be yourself. It works. It's awesome. Number 2, learning to say no so you can say yes. This is such a great life lesson. Once you get online, so you've got a profile, you'll start matching with people and you'll start getting messages and sending messages. There are a lot of ways to do this. So if you are worried about security, the apps are now such that you can do all your conversing through the app. You don't have to give anyone your phone number. You can text through these apps. You can voice call through these apps. You can video call through these apps. I've done that. It's a little weird. It feels kind of like work, but I've done that. And these are all opportunities for you to say no. And I don't mean like no, like, So many of us have learned to be polite. I actually have a friend who kisses everyone she goes on a date with because she feels like it's the nice thing to do. And I'm like, what? You don't have to kiss anyone unless you want to kiss someone. We've learned that we're not supposed to make other people feel bad if we say no. But really, as we grow and mature, we learn that being able to graciously say no, thank you, this is not for me, is an amazing superpower. I mean, we all know how to say no if like we're pushed up against the wall. No, right? No, thank you, no, no, no. But this kind of no that you learn through online dating is the no you choose, freely choose. You're free to say no, right? Freely to say no, thank you, and walk away. As they say in France, merci au revoir, right? Goodbye. I met a man through online dating that I liked a lot. We kind of dated in a lackadaisical manner. Like neither of us was really committing. I was starting to like him, but I knew he was really recently divorced and had dated no one. And so he wanted to make a lot of connections. And I felt into my body and I thought, well, no, it's time to say no. I was sad about it because I really liked him, but I didn't want to be one of many dates. So we made a plan. We met up on a Friday night. And because I'm not perfectly good at this and I'm an impatient person, before we even got to the drinks, like on the sidewalk, surrounded by people, I was like, I need to talk to you. We need to talk, right? I think I need to tell you something. And I said, I had practiced this sentence, right? So I'm like, I don't think I can do this anymore because I like you. And so I'm going to set you free to do your own thing and keep dating because it's not for me. I was very clear about my boundaries. Like, no, thank you. You're wonderful. I've enjoyed meeting you, but go have your fun. Go sow your wild oats. And then he turned and said to me, I'm so glad you brought this up. I wanted to talk to you. I didn't know how. I'm done dating other people. Can we just see where this goes? I want to spend time with you, just you. I want to get to know you. I was stunned and happy. And then I was like, where do I put all of the sadness I had prepared to feel? But anyhow, so this is what you can do. You can practice no. My favorite phrase that I use, because I did meet 33 men online and, obviously did not have a relationship with all of them. My favorite phrase is, I'm looking for a different kind of connection. I'm looking for a different kind of connection. I like this because you're not rejecting them, right? You're not saying, oh, you're not this or you're not that. But you're just saying this connection, which is kind of an amorphous, ephemeral thing, this connection is not for me. And so you can practice that. I'm looking for a different kind of connection. It is hard to say no. You can also make some little rules for yourself so that you don't get to like the desperate no. You can say, well, if someone doesn't want to meet after like 10 text exchanges, I'm going to graciously say no. Or if someone doesn't want to talk on the phone before we meet, because that helps me feel like if I want to meet them, I'm going to graciously say no, right? So you can set up some parameters that don't push you into this like, help, but it's just like, no, thank you. My personal favorite is to have a 35-minute first date. So when I have a first encounter with someone, I set something else up after, like, oh, I have a Zoom call, or, oh, I have to go meet a friend. So that 35 minutes in, I can graciously leave. Unless, of course, like I really, really want to stay there and the person's amazing. I don't believe in ghosting. You need to learn how to say no. It's really good for you. Every time we say no to someone, we get to practice an incredibly important skill. And it's hard, but it's an amazing service to yourself. If you know how to say no, you will feel safer dating. And I don't just mean feel safer like you're not going to get accosted, but you'll feel safer like I'm going towards what I want. I get to choose. You won't get pulled into like all these sort of mental games where you're trying to imagine what the other person's doing. You'll just say, no, thank you, not for me. And you're also going to have to practice saying no to yourself. So don't limit your dating apps. Don't put them on every single device. Limit your notifications, right? Do not swipe. Do not get on a dating app. Do not swipe if you are bored. Do not do it if you are miserable. Do not do it if you're having insomnia and it feels like the world is burning up and everything sucks. Don't get on a dating app. Just say no. Set limits for yourself. I like to open my dating app when I'm having a cup of coffee, when I'm doing something pleasant, have a little look. We all know this, right? We live in this era where it could be the news or social media or things that can sort of pull us into these tunnels of despair, right? Oh, everyone sucks. Everything sucks. So my challenge to you is developing some no's that ultimately are self-care for you. And those no's will lead to the most incredible yeses. It's not that you have to say no. It's that you finally can sort of think of like, I get to say no some of the time. No, thank you. Merci, au revoir. All right, moving right along. Number 3, get into your body. So let's do a little break. Oh, let's stretch again. Oh, yeah, the body. How's that body doing? talking about all of these things, online dating. Oof. My heart. Can feel your skin. So the third parameter is to use dating as an opportunity to get into your body. It can be a very mental activity. It can be a lot of problem solving and thinking and wordsmithing, but really it's about what do you feel? Online dating is an opportunity to be present with your own self, to cultivate your intuition, and to discover how your body responds to the world. When you're in touch with your body and listening to your body, you will feel more confident. You'll feel more joy and more ability to sort of be in the present moment. It's like all the mindfulness, right? Getting back into your body. And it's so fun to do when you're online dating, because even the most boring date, it's like, oh, what's happening in my body? So I went out on a date with a man who talked for 29 minutes nonstop. I wear watches on my dates because I kind of like time things, because I keep a lot of notes on these things. I'm really curious how it goes. 29 minutes. I'm not kidding. Nonstop talking. I could do a whole course on mansplaining. But anyhow, how many times he went to Japan, how many honorary degrees he has, all the boards of directors he's on. We were sitting outside and I just sat there and I felt the air on my skin. I felt my jaw clenching because I was feeling kind of resentful, like, well, I've done things too. I'm an important person. I watched my breath. And the most amazing thing happened. This man who talked nonstop, I was able to feel empathy for him. And then at some point, my body was restless and I said, oh, thank you. It's been wonderful meeting you. I'm going to go home. I got on my bike, pedaled out into the fresh air. My body was done. Like, okay. I was not angry at this man. I wasn't in my head, like, well, what? I have real degrees. You have honorary degrees, No. I was like, I don't know what's going on with him, but there's a lot going on with him. And I'm ready to go home now. So every date, every phone call, even every text is sort of an opportunity for you to notice how you are in the company of another person. And so if you were to ask me what my worst date was or my most boring date was, I couldn't tell you, because I'm in my body lab having an experience. Wow, what's happening to me? What am I feeling? How come I'm sweating? Why am I breathing this way? Or if it's a great date, oh, my cheeks hurt. I'm smiling so much, right? So no matter what the result of the date is, you're building confidence in your own intuition, in your own wisdom. It's like you're fine-tuning your nervous system by paying attention to it. It's easy to go numb, be on autopilot. But dating is an excellent opportunity to step into sort of observing how you react in situations that aren't habitual. All right. Number 4 is dating a rock in your shoe. So dating can be a constant problem, a distraction. For years of my life, I woke up thinking, I need to find someone. I need to find someone. I need to do this. It's like on my checklist, right? And having this weighing on you can sap your creativity, can make you short-tempered, can make you more likely to cry, right? Closer to the edge. So I would encourage you to try online dating simply to honor your desire for love and connection. It already helps to boost your morale if you know that you are taking some steps in that direction, whether or not you've gotten there. For so many years, it was like this burden or this distraction, right? Like I actually had a list: paint the guest room, clean out the garage, find a boyfriend. Do it. Put it on your list. Make it a priority. Honor your needs. Once your nervous system knows that things are moving along, you will feel so much better. So make a profile. Swipe now and then. You don't have to do it all the time. Or even a first step might be finding a friend or someone you trust and saying, you know what, I really do want to meet someone. So acknowledge that you want love or you want romance. This is the first step. It's also practicing something that you're going to need to get good at if you want to have a long-term relationship. Commitment. Commitment begins at home. If you want someone to be committed to you and you want to be committed to them, you have to start practicing committing to yourself. All right, before I forget, time is moving along. I am here to help you on this journey if you are interested. Some of you may be ready to dive more deeply into this adventure and self-love and honoring your desires. And maybe the only thing that's stopping you from this is not having any help, right? Feeling alone in your quest or not having the support you need to celebrate yourself, or maybe not even knowing the pragmatic steps. So I can make this very simple for you. In my coaching, I start with identifying very clear desires and then what specific goals would help you realize that these desires are being met. We'll work on getting closer to helping you say what your heart really wants without breaking into tears. And then we will work on embodiment practices, self-pleasure practices to get closer to really feeling your desire deeply and fully in your body. We'll dig in deeper around blockages. We could do aspecting work around parents, previous partners, self-worth transformational work, dealing with rage, bad memories, resentments, circular overthinking. By working through them safely with me, once we have an established coaching relationship where you feel like these things can be sort of digested. And then we'll redefine your desires and goals. And this time with your body and your heart fully on board. And then it's time to sort of like remove what needs to be gotten rid of in your life or your mindset, like kind of, or working on your boundaries, like kind of clearing the space for what it is that you actually want. And then we'll take action steps towards realizing your goals, cultivating positive feelings. And you probably will have some homework to start moving into these things that you desire. And at the end, we'll celebrate a new transformational mindset. As one of my clients says, we'll be in the land of transformation and moving towards your goals. So this is sort of the arc of a coaching package with me. So if you're interested in turning dating into a self-love practice, if you're interested in rebuilding your connection with yourself so that you can start connecting more deeply with other people, we can set up a time to talk. It's really easy. You can just look at my calendar and find a time that works for you. And I'll help you figure out what's working and what you could be doing differently. And if we're a great fit, we can think about working together, and I'll share some options for you. You might be wondering why I'm offering this for free. It's a free call. I would love to hear your dating stories. I am so into it right now. Like I feel like the anthropologist of dating. I can't stop. And I would love to offer you some support because this is not something we get supported in. Like I am an accomplished professional. I have done a lot and nobody is like, oh, honey, are you still looking for love? How's it going? I would love to be that person for you, even if it's just for 1 hour. Dating is hard. It's confusing. It can bring up painful aspects of our lives. But I'm pretty sure I've convinced myself through my experiences that dating can also be a wonderful adventure in like really getting more confident, learning to trust yourself, rediscovering your body, and celebrating your desires and who you are. So if you work with me, I can help you do this. I can show you exactly what you need to do to thrive in dating, to go deeper in these connections. And it would be my pleasure to hear where you are. The link is in the chat. You can save it and I'll send it again afterwards. Really, it would be my pleasure to have a chat with you and hear what it's like from your perspective. There's no one single dating story. There's so many. So you can go ahead and use that link in the chat or just copy it. All right, we're at the final one, number 5. Sex. We got to talk about sex. So I have clients who think that all those people on all those dating sites, all they want is sex. Or I have clients who say, my sex life is terrible. Or I have clients who have not shown the downstairs of their body to a new person in decades, and they're a little worried. Like, there's some bumps there, some aging there, there's some features that weren't there when I was 20. However, sexually thriving in life is an incredible pleasure. It's an opportunity for self-discovery, and it's life-sustaining. It's also free, right? It's anti-capitalist, and it comes in so many different shapes and flavors. Online dating is an adventure, and even if you don't do anything with anybody, if you never get naked with anyone you meet online, I don't care. Online dating is an adventure in your mind to figure out what you are, who you are as a sexual being. One of the men I met in France, Cyril, was like 20 years younger than I was. He's like, we'll meet in a park at lunchtime and discuss. It wasn't a date. So we met in this park. We sat on this bench. He was very tall. He was very handsome. He was very young. And he goes to me, he's like, j'aime les MILF. I was like, what? I'm a MILF. Even in France, I'm a MILF. Well, am I flattered or is this weird? And then he proceeded to tell me like all the practices that he was really good at. And I was like, oh, no, I'm vanilla. I like cuddly, sweet, like, and then I was like, oh, but me, I could go over to his house and he could do this and he could do that. And right. And I was like, there's a part of me that is interested in danger. What am I going to do with this part of me? This is a part of me I've never explored. Maybe this is part of me that's like been on autopilot. Like, do I really know who I am in this kind of sexual reality? Do I know everything about myself sexually? And the answer is absolutely not. No way, even if I think I do. I didn't go to his apartment, but because he canceled, not me. So something in me was like, what? Bad? Nothing bad happened. I'm here to tell you I have had no bad experiences with anyone on all these 33 people I've met. All my boundaries have been respected. But in my own mind, I was finding places to think about. So when you embark on online dating, you get to imagine a new sexual story for your future. You get to be anyone you want, even if it's just in your mind, and you get to have any kind of adventure you want. You could try on a different style, a different gender, a different age, a different shape, a different practice. Nothing's set in stone. In my mind, meditating on your own sexual self is a deep and profoundly affecting way to honor these things that we were talking about, to honor your quirkiness, your originality, to practice no's, to practice yes, to be in touch with your body, and also to really stop worrying about all your problems, right? All I gotta do, like, stop, sex is a great way to stop worrying about painting the guest bedroom or cleaning up your house, like to sort of enjoy your life. All right. So in a moment, I would love to hear from you and what your takeaways are and what questions you might have. And I'll stop the recording if you want to unmute and talk. So I'm just going to go through those 5 points about online dating. These are all sort of paradigm shifts, ways to think about dating as an adventure in self-discovery, an adventure in developing your superpowers. So number 1, for your profile, be your own quirky self. Celebrate your originality. Don't try to appeal to everyone. Be very specific. Number 2, practice saying no graciously from a place where you choose to say no. No, thank you. Merci. Au revoir. And that way you can get closer to saying yes to what you really want. Number 3, be fully in your body in the experience. So use this as an opportunity to see what's going on inside. What do you feel? How are you breathing? Number 4, commit to taking some action. Even today, just showing up here, you took action. You're thinking about this. And number 5, maybe dare to imagine a new sexual story. These are all ways to get closer to yourself, to honor and respect yourself, and to then move into connection with people who will honor and respect you. So you have a choice now. If you're serious about solving this, you can just keep doing what you're doing, which may be nothing. You can keep doing nothing and hope it gets better. You can keep going to the post office and hope to meet someone there. Or you can actually solve this whole online dating thing by committing to a self-honoring practice and start getting really good at it. And I'd be absolutely delighted to talk with you about that and see if I can help you do that. You can just pick one of these things and sort of notice how it shows up in your life. So if you'd like to sign up for a free session, the link is in the chat. And I am going to stop the recording. Voila.